This is Sunrise Extra, streaming live on Wave Now.
Good morning. Happy Wednesday. A totally different story this morning versus yesterday's weather.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, we had some intense rain coming down yesterday, Tawana.
Yeah, parts of our region right along 64 is where we got the majority of the rainfall. Areas further to the north and south barely saw anything in terms of rain yesterday. So really just depending on where you were in wave country. But right now we are seeing crisp, clear skies overhead on our SkyTrack cameras. We're looking towards Spaghetti Junction. What a gorgeous morning. The cooler air really settling in, a lot more of those 50s along and north of the parkway, 60s still for those of you further to the south. But as the front moves away, more of that cooler air will filter in. 53 in Floyd's Knobs, 54 in Fern Creek, 55 into Shepherdsville. Now the clouds that are still holding on for those of you further to the south will clear out as we head into the mid-morning hours, leaving behind plenty of sunshine for everyone. Highs today mainly in the 60s, so things are looking pretty comfortable over the next 12 hours. And looking ahead to the rest of the work week, yeah, we're not going to see much in terms of change. Plenty of sunshine, highs staying in the 60s for the next 2 days. I'll let you know about what the weekend looks like, though, in my full forecast.
Forward to it. Thank you, Tawana. Well, people are waking up thinking about the major flooding that we had yesterday and the infrastructure issues that came with it.
Yeah, there were some big problems all across town, from rising water levels to road material issues. As those flash flood warnings went out, some people found themselves stuck. It's an example of just how the weather can get dangerous quickly.
Just before 10:20 Tuesday morning, a plane with 4 people on board overran the runway at Bowman Field and landed on the Seneca Golf Course. We learned the 2 pilots were trying to land in the rain. There were 2 passengers on board. Everyone on board, though, was okay, and the runway is still closed this morning.
One spot of Plantside Drive in Jeffersontown crumbled into a sinkhole because a pipe collapsed right under the road.
Officials say the part of Plantside Drive between Bunsen Way and Carton Drive will be closed.
Here's video of that sinkhole in Jeffersontown. It comes after we got so much rain yesterday.
It's not clear how long those repairs could take or when that part of the road will reopen. Wave News reporter Rob Wells is live there this morning with an update. And Rob, how's it looking right now?
Yeah, Olivia, talk about a change of scenery out here in just 24 hours. What a mess it is out here right now. We're talking about 3 lanes out here in this area, it's a heavy industrial area. There's a lot of businesses out here, car dealerships, companies like floor covering companies and window companies out here. And if you're heading to work or school or to maybe an appointment out here, you're going to have to find another way. Detour signs posted about a mile down the road, letting drivers, motorists know you are not getting through this area. Take a look at this out here. This is a complete collapse of this. I talked to one of the folks out here from Jeffersontown Public Works when we got out here about 5 this morning. I said, how does this stack up? He said, I've been with the department more than 10 years. We've had issues, but never anything of this size. Complete collapse. And there's some edges right here where you can see cracks down the roadway that almost look like they could fall off and collapse into this already massive hole. We're talking about 3 lanes out here, probably about 20 feet in width at least. And it's just going to be a long road to recovery out here. A lot of folks, what we're seeing right now is people heading out. They're coming maybe to work or school or heading usually on this route, but they're finding that they can't get down this roadway. So you really want to take your time out here and keep an eye on it. This is going to take some time. We're talking about architects and engineers, and it's a massive undertaking. It almost looks in this area where we're standing as if this was some sort of a drain basin. We're talking about a pipe underneath that must have failed. We're hearing from yesterday afternoon at least. That's the initial reports. Luckily in all this, nobody was hurt, and that is the best part of all. But if you do usually take this route out here, you're going to have to find another way this morning because this is much different now than what it looked yesterday this same time. We'll send it back to you now in the studio.
Thank you, Rob. Happening today, the interim Jefferson County clerk will be sworn in.
State Senator David Yates was appointed to the position by Mayor Craig Greenberg following the death of longtime county clerk Bobby Holzclaw in September. Wave News reporter Kirsten Foote joining us in the studio with more. Kirsten.
Yeah, good morning, Shannon and Olivia. David Yates has resigned his seat in the state legislature, stepping into the new role. Yates, a Democratic candidate already running for Jefferson County clerk, now takes over the seat held for 26 years by Republican Bobby Holzclaw. He'll serve out the remainder of the term, which runs through November 2026. Yates is a former Louisville Metro Council person and past Metro Council president. Following the announcement of the appointment, Yates had this to say about how he'll approach the job.
hope that we can lead, I think the first thing we do is we listen. We deal with our law enforcement and see what other opportunities are there to better protect what things can be put in place. And so that'll be my policy early on, is to shut up, sit back and listen, figure out best practices, not just here locally, but throughout the United States, and work to implement that.
The election for county clerk will be in 2026 with a primary in May and the general election following in November. And the swearing-in ceremony is taking place this afternoon at 2:30 at Metro Hall. Kirsten Foote, Wave News.
Thank you. Coming up, Harvest Homecoming Booth Days starting tomorrow.
Marissa Burke is live in New Albany to tell us about those upcoming booth days right after the break.
Harvest Homecoming organizers say this year they're going back to the basics. Booth days start tomorrow. You can check out all of the nonprofits, small businesses, lots of great food, arts and crafts too.
Yeah, but there won't be any rides there this year. Organizers say there's still something for everyone out there, though. Wave News reporter Marissa Burke joining us now with a preview. Good morning, Marissa.
Good morning, Shannon and Olivia. We're over at the corner of Pearl and Elm Streets. Right now, you see cars passing through the area, but starting at 5, they're going to be blocking things off to prepare for this year's booth days. Now, this, again, is so that they don't disturb the businesses that are in this area. That's why they're waiting until 5. The president of this year's festival says you can eat and shop your way through all of the booths that they're going to have. They're going to be around 300 different booths, several stages for live music, kid events, acrobatics, a costume contest, you name it, it's probably going to be here. The booth area specifically will stretch from State Street to East 3rd Street, including those in between Pearl and Bank Streets. Organizers did implement new security measures after what happened last year. 18-year-old Bryce Gerlach was killed and 2 others injured from gunshots. 2 groups started fighting and all of the victims were bystanders. When we take a closer look at what's going to be happening across the next few days with booth days, high school students may want to go hang out and participate in one event in particular.
Who wants to be a college student? So it's kind of like Name That Tune, if you remember way back in the day. And students register, they draw them out of a hat, they come up, and they are basically, we give away $10,000 in one night to various students that are drawn. They come up, they name the song until they miss it, and then they take that money and we write them a check to go to college.
According to the website, that event is going to be on Monday. Organizers encourage people to check out the website, harvesthomecoming.com, to see the full list of events and when things are going to be happening. Again, Booth Day starts tomorrow, Thursday through Sunday. Things kick off at noon on Thursday, run until 9 that day. And then just take a closer look on Friday and Saturday. They're going to be closing things a little bit earlier because of some of those security measures that they implemented this year. There's going to be a new security system, new fencing, and a heavier police presence. Because one of the big things they wanted to make sure is that with everything that happened last year, they wanted to make sure people felt safe and comfortable to enjoy this year's Harvest Homecoming. Because again, this event was created to celebrate the city and promote local nonprofits. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Marissa.
And some good news, it looks like the weather is at least going to be pretty good for it.
Yeah, tell us all about it, Tawana.
Yeah, the weather is going to be absolutely fantastic as we head into the weekend. Right now, though, we're focused in on the clouds still overhead for those of you in Bardstown, while areas further to the north are just seeing the clearer skies and plenty of sunshine. So those clouds are still holding on along and south of the Parkway. So we're off to a little bit of cloudier start further to the south, but it doesn't take long for those clouds to move out as the front also continues to make its way out of our region, taking all that rain with it that we had yesterday. So in terms of our temperatures, we are now 14 degrees colder in Louisville compared to where we were 24 hours ago, and the colder air continues to race in. We're down to 55 degrees at the airport in Louisville. Same thing in E-Town, 52 in Shelbyville, 47 now in North Vernon, 50 for those of you in Paoli. So everyone starting to see that cooler air. We're not really concerned about clouds for the rest of the day. Yeah, we could see a few upper level clouds here and there, but it's mainly about the sunshine for your Wednesday as we return all the way into the 60s for afternoon highs. So even the temperatures are going to feel a whole lot more like fall. There is going to be a bit of a breeze through the morning and early afternoon with some of those wind gusts in the 15 to 20 mile per hour range, but that wind will calm down just in time for tonight. And it's a calm wind, the clear skies that will allow us to really cool off, returning to the 40s for lows for your Thursday morning. Your 10-day shows that we get to keep the pleasant weather and the dry weather for a while. We get a little bit more of those comfortable conditions for tomorrow afternoon with highs back into the low to mid 60s then. So a little bit more of that sweater weather then, and a little bit more of the sweater weather for sure. Maybe even pulling out the coats in some spots for Friday morning, waking up to upper 30s and low 40s for morning temperatures on Friday, and then right back up in the 60s to near 70 on Friday afternoon. For the upcoming weekend, it's all about the sunshine as highs return to the low 70s in more spots. We keep on warming up through next Wednesday and Thursday, out ahead of a front that will move in towards Thursday and Friday. That's the current timing that we have right now. And while initially that front was looking to bring us some showers, well, now it doesn't look like it has a lot of moisture to tap into. So at best, we'll just end up with a couple of isolated showers, which at that point we will need. And we'll see those temperatures returning to the upper 60s and low 70s for the end of next week.
Thank you, Tawana. New After Hours 21 and Up Halloween event is happening at the Louisville Zoo.
It's the first year for their Scalibration. So it's for adults, again, 21 and up. It'll feature bourbon tasting, specialty food, plus signature cocktails, mocktails, beer, and wine. Partygoers will be able to walk the traditional Boo at the Zoo route, but get their own special brands of 21 and up treats, including 4 drink stations where they can pick their poison, coupons for animal area haunts, and up-close animal encounters. Guests are even encouraged to wear their costumes and enter their costume contest. It'll be from 6 to 9 tonight, and the proceeds from Scalibration will benefit the zoo's Animal Ambassador program. Tickets are available on the zoo's website for $85.
That sounds like fun. Oh, what a beautiful sunrise. We're waking up to enjoy this. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for staying with us here for Sunrise Extra. I'm Olivia Russell. It is day 7 of the government shutdown. We're going to be giving you some updates on where things stand right now in Congress as they're working to pass that budget bill. Plus, hard to believe it, but basketball season is right around the corner. We'll talk about some of our local teams gearing up for the big season. But first, that rain we saw yesterday, that was intense. A lot of flooding issues, and starting with flooding warnings that were sent out around 11 o'clock yesterday. The roads washed out in real time. Some stranded cars didn't escape, and it's an example of how the weather can get dangerous so quickly. Some concerns that several neighbors talked to say they feel every single time it rains, and for several homeowners and renters in Louisville, it's not a new problem. Wave News reporter Julia Richardson talked to some homeowners about what they have experienced when it rains.
It'll flood out everything back here.
Robert Donaway has lived in his South Louisville home for most of his life. Whenever there's enough rain, he says his yard looks just like this.
And this is every time. A lot of times I'll come out here myself and try to keep it from flooding, but there's nothing I can do. It gets too much.
Donaway says over time, floodwater has damaged hundreds of dollars worth of his family's belongings.
A lot of tools, a lot of furniture, kids' things, basement. We used to get water in the basement. I've lost furnaces and everything, washers and dryers, and nothing has ever been replaced.
After Tuesday's heavy rainfall, Donaway hopes Louisville's Metro Sewer District finally takes notice. He tells us his attempts to communicate these problems with MSD go back to 2013, and they haven't been solved.
You got all the equipment and everything to do it. Why not come out here and fix it?
And Donaway is far from the only person dealing with drain infrastructure problems. MSD tells us they received 246 calls throughout Tuesday, reporting everything from backups to clogged catch basins.
I live on the 3rd floor, and I opened up my door and it just heard what sounded like a waterfall. I've lived here about 8 months, and this is the 3rd time that this bottom floor has been completely flooded out.
Alexis Desmond rents and lives in the Station J-Town apartments. She sent Wave News this video of her parking lot. On top of the flooding, Desmond says a storm nearly 2 weeks ago left a hole in her roof. She says while she waits for her property managers to fix it, she's had to throw away many of her and her kids' own belongings.
So I called again today when everything started leaking again, the living room and the bathroom and the kitchen. I'm literally stuck to 2 bedrooms.
Desmond tells me all she can do is hope things get better before the next storm.
Majority of the tenants here feel the same way and have a lot of the same horror stories, which is really unfortunate, especially when you're thinking about people's kids and people's health and people's well-being.
And we reached out to MSD about the flooding. They released a statement saying, quote, the system experienced the 3rd wettest October day in Louisville history, receiving more than 4 inches of rain in about 12 hours. The volume of rainfall compressed into this time period left parts of the system inundated and overwhelmed capacity. And we will, of course, keep up with that story because we know more rain will happen again in the future. Kentucky State Police are doubling down on a program they say keeps more people safe on the roads. High Five started 2 years ago, asking state police troopers and sheriff's deputies to focus specifically on improving seatbelt usage. A handful of Kentucky counties have implemented the program. Close to us, Grayson County was a member from day one, and Taylor County joined this year. State leaders say it's not designed to punish drivers, just to encourage them to protect themselves.
Wearing a seatbelt can save your life. It is important that we all arrive home to our families safely.
Taylor County says it will rejoin High Five's campaign next year as the program expands to 9 counties in the state. Well, going back to that flooding, though, caused a lot of issues, including at Bowman Field, where an airplane slid off the runway as it was trying to land, and it landed at Seneca Golf Course. It happened as 2 pilots were trying to land during that heavy rain. Wave News reporter David Mattingly finds that people are very relieved that no one was hurt.
Its tires and nose wedged in the mud. A Cessna 525B jet with 4 people on board came to a stop 370 feet beyond the end of the runway. The crew was attempting to land when the jet failed to stop. A statement from the airport authority says 2 pilots and 2 passengers were on board the aircraft at the time. All were alert and speaking with airport staff following the incident. Evaluated at the scene, we are told no one needed medical attention. But a mangled fence at the edge of Bowman Field gives some sense of the impact. Capable of carrying up to 8 passengers and weighing in excess of 4 tons, the jet had no trouble flattening metal poles and chain link fencing. This isn't the first time something like this has happened here. June of 2013, a young pilot crashed in the same spot with 3 others on board while practicing takeoffs and landings. All 4 suffered serious injuries. This time, only the aircraft was damaged. The front wheel was sheared off as the jet came through the fence, and there appeared to be damage to a wing.
And this morning, that runway is still closed, but it is expected to reopen sometime this evening. A narrow majority of New Albany city councilors agreed to pass the city budget. However, Mayor Jeff Gahan still faces questions about the legal battle over the Providence Mill Dam. The council passed the budget in a 5-4 vote, according to our partners at the News and Tribune. Members who voted against the $59 million budget say they wanted Gahan to release the financial costs of the ongoing legal fight. The River Heritage Conservancy has been suing, trying to force New Albany to remove the dam in Silver Creek. New Albany has also been sued by the State Department of Natural Resources after the mayor ordered emergency work at the dam without proper permits. It's in a statement to council, Mayor Gahan said it would not be appropriate to release specific costs yet because the cases are ongoing. And in Charlestown, leaders also approved next year's budget there. The News and Tribune reports this vote was unanimous to support a $7.4 million budget to cover police pension, infrastructure, and other expenses. Mayor Treva Hodges says their biggest challenge is the effect of Senate Act 1, which impacts property taxes. Hodges says it's leaving the town council in a, quote, budget crisis for the future. The council also approved a 2% salary raise for all city staff, including the police department, but it does not include elected officials. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back in 2 minutes. The government shutdown has reached its 1-week mark today with no signs of reopening anytime soon. Reports indicate President Donald Trump and the White House are considering not paying furloughed federal employees for the time they didn't work during the partial government shutdown. The move was suggested in a White House draft memo. It would represent a new interpretation of a law that's likely to catch lawmakers' eyes on Capitol Hill and criticism among government workers.
Every single furloughed federal employee is entitled to back pay. period, full stop.
The Democrats have put a lot of people in great risk and jeopardy, but it really depends on who you're talking about. But for the most part, we're going to take care of our people. There are some people that really don't deserve to be taken care of, and we'll take care of them in a different way.
An estimated 750,000 federal workers are expected to be furloughed during the shutdown. Former FBI Director James Comey has his day in court today. He'll hear a formal reading of the charges against him and have a chance to enter the plea. Last month's video message from Comey strongly suggests that plea will be not guilty. But many legal analysts say that he'll win this case easily. But the Justice Department alleges Comey committed 2 felonies. Amy Kiley reports on allegations those charges aren't the real reason for the case.
Donald Trump wants to first and foremost intimidate those who've been detractors of his.
It's arraignment day for President Donald Trump's nemesis, former FBI Director James Comey. He's charged with making false statements to Congress and obstruction of a congressional proceeding. The Justice Department alleges he lied to lawmakers about whether he authorized an FBI media leak.
Comey and all this, sleazebags. He's a liar and he's a leaker. Is this guy being looked at? But we're going to straighten it out.
Trump deplores Comey for investigating his 2016 campaign. Critics say the charges are revenge. Many legal analysts say the case is so weak, it never should have been filed.
I believe that Mr. Comey will ultimately be vindicated. I think there's going to be strong grand jury misconduct motions, vindictive prosecution motions, and selective prosecution motions.
No signatures from any career DOJ attorneys are on the indictment. And so far, no local prosecutors are on the docket.
They couldn't find anybody within 500 miles to show up in court and choke down the humiliation of trying to defend the United States in that case.
The arraignment comes a day after the Attorney General dodged related questions from lawmakers.
I am not going to discuss pending cases because Comey was indicted in the Eastern District of Virginia by, I may point out, one of the most liberal grand juries in the country.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
After months of back and forth, the U.S. and Canada appear to be making progress towards a trade deal. President Trump hosted Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney at the White House on Tuesday. One Canadian minister said the meeting was positive, substantive, and more detailed than previous talks, and added that both leaders had directed their negotiators to quickly land deals, particularly regarding steel, aluminum, and energy. It's gaming and social media platform used by tens of millions, including kids. And now Roblox is being sued by Kentucky's Attorney General, who calls it a, quote, website of choice for child predators. Wave News anchor Brian Schlonsky was there as AG Russell Coleman announced the major lawsuit and also heard from a local mom. Coleman's message to parents is to delete Roblox immediately.
And I thought I was doing everything right. Monitoring devices, setting limits, having open dialogue with my kids.
Courtney Norris lives in Jefferson County, has 3 kids ranging in age from 9 to 14. Her kids played Roblox. It's part of this digital age we live in, until she says she learned of the dangers.
Like many parents, I thought Roblox is a safe choice. I describe it as a fenced-in backyard for kids gaming. And that is the genius and the danger I found of Roblox. The illusion of safety it gives parents like me.
The illusion of safety, the reason Kentucky Attorney General Russell Coleman says he's suing the gaming and social media platform. In the complaint he filed, the AG says kids as young as 6 can get on there without a parent knowing. He says the site creates a playground for child predators and terror organizations where kids are exposed to real-world sex crimes and violence just in cartoon form.
We also learned that after the gruesome assassination of Charlie Kirk, sickening so-called assassination simulators immediately popped up on Roblox. They allowed children as young as 5 to access bloody images of the shooting.
The AG says nearly 2/3 of all kids in the U.S. ages 9 to 12 play games on Roblox. The company is valued at $41 billion. Coleman alleges our children aren't safe on there because of online exploitation from predators. He says he hopes the lawsuit will bring about better age verification, content filters that work, and enhanced parental notifications.
Here is my message to parents. Get your kids off Roblox. Do it today.
And Kentucky is now the second state to file a suit against Roblox. Louisiana did it back in August. We reached out to Roblox for a response about this latest lawsuit. They gave us a statement which reads in part, quote, "We share the critically important goal of keeping kids safe online and have years of experience working collaboratively with law enforcement, child safety experts, and families in pursuit of our vision to be the safest platform on the internet. This lawsuit was not based on an in-depth investigation, but instead is based on sensationalized, outdated, and out-of-context information. We believe the plaintiff's attorneys have misrepresented matters to seek financial gain and that states may be a victim of this misinformation." You can read their full statement over on wave3.com. Attorney General Pam Bondi delivered some fiery responses to questions on a variety of issues. Those issues include National Guard deployments in U.S. cities, files related to Jeffrey Epstein, and the indictment of former FBI Director James Comey by a federal grand jury. Democratic lawmakers on the committee accused Bondi of weaponizing the Justice Department against the people President Trump views as his enemies. Bondi consistently denied those allegations and refused to discuss specific investigations on yesterday. 69 years ago is when the first enclosed mall opened. Store owner Donald Dayton wanted to encourage shoppers to come to the mall during the city's famous frigid winters. And the 80,000 square foot mall opened with 72 tenants, a skating rink, a giant bird cage, and a post office. You don't see that anymore. Even though malls aren't as popular in the U.S. as they once were, Southdale Mall in Minneapolis is still open, and it has more than 85 retailers and restaurants. Another birthday today. This one is turning 80 years old. We're talking about the microwave oven. It was invented by a man named Percy Spencer, who worked on radio and radar equipment. While experimenting with a magnetron, he noticed it melted the payday candy bar in his pocket. Created quite a mess, but hey, a big future for him. After some tweaking, that microwave oven was born. It was huge and expensive back then, and the tech sat mostly unused, and it wasn't until 1967 when Amana, which was owned by Raytheon at the time, shrunk it down to a tabletop size. And if you're old enough to remember, Amana called its microwave oven a radar range. But yeah, everyone has that these days. Comes in handy. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with some of the headlines in sports. Well, it feels like football season just started, but can you believe it? Basketball season is right around the corner, and the U of L women's team met with the media as part of the ACC Tip-Off Media Day yesterday. Head coach Jeff Walz, along with players Tajana Roberts and Laura Ziegler, previewed the season in Charlotte yesterday. Roberts is entering her sophomore year following an impressive freshman season. She started all 33 games last year and averaged about 12 points per game. Last year, the Cards made it to the second round of the NCAA tournament before losing to TCU. However, Roberts says this year will be different as she and her team focus on getting back to Louisville basketball.
this program isn't known for, making it to the first and second round, but getting to the Sweet 16, the Elite Eight, like that is the standard. So I think just having that fire that like, this isn't normal. We have to continue to elevate ourselves and be better because the Elite Eight is where we should be, and that's where this program has always been. So just getting back there.
And a strong program that they have there. Would love to see them bounce back. Jeff Walz and the Cards open their season against the defending national champions UConn on November 4th. On the men's side of things, head coach Pat Kelsey and a pair of Cardinals will take the podium in Charlotte today. Louisville getting a ton of hype in the preseason. Many experts predict the Cards could be a Final Four contender. Can you believe that? What a bounce back from this just a few years ago. And this morning, you can hear reaction from Coach Kelsey and seniors Ryan Conwell and Javon Hadley. That's starting at 9:15 over on the ACC network. Former UK head coach John Calipari started a tradition, and that's continued under current head coach Mark Pope. It's Pro Day for Kentucky basketball. Scouts from across the NBA visited Memorial Coliseum to see this year's version of the Cats and potential draft picks last night. Head coach Mark Pope's philosophy on the team is not to focus on failure or success, but to focus on growth.
The day after failure is the same day you're waking up chasing growth. And if you stack those days day after day after day and don't get distracted by the fickleness of achievement or the temporariness of failure, then where you end up is somewhere really, really special.
Coming this spring, the city's newest professional team will open play at Lynn Family Stadium, and we're not talking about soccer, actually talking about football, because the UFL is bringing the Louisville Kings to Lynn Family Stadium. The Kings are one of 3 new franchises in the Spring Football League, which is spearheaded by former WWE superstar and movie star Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Lou City officials are hoping this brand of football to the stadium will attract fans to other brands of football.
And there's probably a lot of people who still drive past Lynn Family Stadium and think, oh, that looks nice, but I don't really have a reason to go there. We hope this gives them another reason to come out here and sort of, get in that funnel of people who say, well, that was pretty cool. I might want to come back for a Louisville City or Racing Louisville game.
So that season is set to start in the spring, but so far they have not released a schedule yet. Excited to see how that turns out. Looking now to college football. This Saturday, IU will play in their second big-time game against Oregon in Eugene. The Hoosiers are ranked 7th, while Eugene is number 3. Oregon is also in their conference. Hoosiers head coach Curt Cignetti is preparing his team the same way he did for every other team on the schedule.
I say it all the time, you prepare for them all the same. Otherwise, you'd be doing a disservice to your team if you're all in one game and not all in on another, right? So from that standpoint, it's pretty much the same.
Well, and as we're also thinking about basketball season, the U of L men's basketball team has released their tip times and where you can watch their games this season. The first chance for fans to see the Cardinals this season will be on October 24th. They'll play at 7:30 against Kansas in an exhibition game. But one of the biggest games of the season, that's the Cards versus the Cats. The Battle of the Bluegrass returns to the Yum Center on November 11th. That'll be broadcasted on ESPN at 8 p.m. And that's a Tuesday night. A lot of people not happy about that, but I know they will stay up late to watch it. The Cardinals' schedule features at least 9 games that'll be shown on ESPN. And Louisville, like we said, getting a ton of hype. They could be that Final Four contender. So we'll have to wait and see how that turns out for them. You can wear your Halloween costumes and get some candy at Louisville Slugger Field. The Louisville Bats will once again host Trick or Treat at the ballpark on October 17th. You can fill your bucket or bag with candy around the concourse. Tickets are just $3 in advance or $5 at the door. There will also be a Halloween costume contest, face painting, pumpkin decorating, and the movie Halloween Town will play on the big board. Some of the concession stands will be open too. It is a lot of fun. I usually judge the Halloween costume contest out there. I'll be out of town this year, so I won't be there, but I know that everyone will dress up and show off their best costumes. Well, Cats fans getting amped up for the start of the basketball season with a new event this year. It's called the BBN United Fan Fest. That'll be hosted this Saturday from noon to 4:30 at the Central Bank Center. It's free with inflatables, face painting vendors, and a live DJ to celebrate all things Kentucky basketball. Both Coach Mark Pope and Coach Kenny Brooks will hit the stage to introduce the teams. There'll be a chance to grab some autographs from the players, too. The BBN United Fan Fest is happening right before Big Blue Madness that gets underway at Rupp Arena at 6 o'clock that night. That's all the time time we have here for Sunrise Extra. Hope you have a great Wednesday. Going to be some beautiful weather out there. Have a good one.